Welcome everyone, my name is PaullyMac. Today I'm bringing you the pick'ems for week 4 of the GBA D-League Season 4. And as always, I am joined by Sawk.
What is up, GBA D-League type people? I am Sawk.
Yes, very just abrupt ending there.
I mean,
that sounded like a train wreck of an intro, just as much of a train wreck as the week 3 pick'ems were for all of us. So with that in mind, let's take a look at those week 3 pick'ems, shall we?
Can we not?
I would prefer not to, as well, as there was actually more people with a losing record this week than there were with a positive or neutral record. Me, as well as 3 other people, Narth, Mio, and Flying Bird, all going 2 and 4. Sawk, 1 and 5, dude.
So, what I'm going to say about my record is it's still better than Coach Z's.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong there. But yeah, the big surprise to, I think, most people would be the Detroit Butterfrees losing to the Durham Druddigons. I think, though, most people would agree that that wasn't Zazo's best team. In fact, a lot of the mons we talked about being strong for Zazo, he did not bring in the matchup, especially the Garchomp, which, I mean, Leo was a bit surprised to not see the Garchomp as well. So it'll be interesting to see if those 2 teams play in playoffs and how good these 2 battlers are. We could absolutely see them playing in playoffs, see what Zazo brings that game. No, not to discredit Leo at all. Leo played a great game, but I think that was a bit shocking as you see every single person pick for Zazo, and it was a lock for Bird as well. But then the other one as well, which we'll get to more later, what happened here, but the game between CJ and Turbo, where the fan Discord got it right, but everyone else picked CJ, and CJ did not get the win.
Nope. I have some choice words for Turbo. We'll get to that in a minute. So, looking at the next week's pick for week 4, the fan Discord, you guys decided this week you guys are going to pick Choice CJ and the Baltimore Orioles. You guys are going to pick Leo and the Durham Druddigons. You guys are also going to pick Zazo and his Detroit Butterfrees. You guys are picking Deebs and the Calgary Flame Wheels. You guys are locking Turbo and the Phoenix Midnights. You guys are also picking Randy and his Pokemon Rangers.
Yes. So, yeah, why don't you lead us off rather than me leading us off? Why don't you lead us off so you can get Turbo's game?
Alright, so this makes me so happy because CJ, you have a pretty nice matchup against Melantosh here. Suicune can serve a great check to Zygarde and can help nullify any subset with Ice Beam and Scald. Drapion is a really nice check to Gengar as well as Megazord Y if you play it right. Darmanitan plus Raikou can also put in some nice work if paired together and kind of help right on his team. And the new pickup on CJ's side, Celebi, be sure to check out the trades and transactions if you missed it, is also a nice help check to Rotom and resist Zygarde's arrows. Now, if you're on Melantosh's side, Dualeon's Cobalion seems pretty good late game, and a Belly Drum Slurpee Boy makes it really nice to help set up and sweep for Gengar to take over or for Zygarde to come in and sweep. If Melon wants to win this game, he should really play offensively and not play any sort of balance if he wants a good shot at winning this game. But CJ's been impressing me really well recently, and I don't think Melon plays offensively enough to capitalize on it, and I think CJ takes us home.
Yeah, everyone seems to agree there with the CJ pick and how that Melon hasn't played his best Pokemon since that big week 1 victory over Greg. He hasn't played his best Pokemon, so everyone going with CJ there, and we'll see if CJ lets us down like he did all the analysts last week. Yeah. But with that in mind, let's look into our next matchup. That is Regulator and the Los Angeles Clefable taking on Leo 6-foot Hacks, or do you want to say it, Sawk, since you don't have his game this week?
6-foot trash.
There we go. And the Durham Druddigons, and this is an interesting matchup. It is a very even matchup, I feel, as a lot of people are going with Leo, to you and Narthville going with Greg. For Leo, Magearna is going to be massive in this game. It's going to be massive in most games this season, but he has a couple different options. He could just go AV, which he's been going more of a bulky set a lot this season already early on. The AV set will be so good in helping deal with things like the Greninja and the Tapu Koko, being able to take hits from those as well as do massive damage back. Not a lot of great switch-ins for Greg. There are some solid ones. Megazord is a good check as long as he doesn't get the HP Fire prediction correct. And on top of that, Infernape and Mega Medicham, I can speak sometimes. They're great wall-breaking core for Leo in this matchup. Only one good fighting resist on Greg's team, and that is being the Masharna. So with that in mind, Masharna actually pretty much has to come this week. It is the only good switch-in that Greg has to Mega Medi. Otherwise, Mega Medi kind of gets a kill every time it comes in against something a little bit slower than it. That's the only switch he has. Mega Scizor is going to be massive for Greg in this matchup. An SD set could do big, or also just a bulky set that just Leo struggles to kill if he can't get Infernape in there, because there's not a lot of things that can hit with super hard HP fires on his team. So we'll see how it turns up. Another mon as well, Heatran, a newer mon for Greg's team that he picked up. That could be actually a big threat here. A lot of the offensive mons that Leo has do not deal with a Scarf Heatran well, however his defensive mons do. So if it's a Scarf Heatran potentially with Toxic to be able to catch things like the Crest or the Miltank or Alamomola on the switch-in, that could be a huge bring for Greg. I do have Leo taking this one, but I think this is going to be a very close matchup based just on the matchup solely.
And for anyone that says Scarf Heatran is not a set, shoutouts to my boy Brad. He has shown me the ways of Scarf Tran. It is a wavy set.
Oh, I used it a couple times in PPL this past season. I loved using Scarf Tran for sure.
It's fun. But moving on to our next game, we have Danza and his LA Needle Kings versus Zazo and his Detroit Butterfrees. Now, Danza, that Cancer Regen Core, does wonders this game to help check up a lot of Zazo's team. However, the only thing that really doesn't care for is Zapdos, and I think Drampa comes just to check the Zapdos. And Zapdos can ensure Danza can outbulk Zazo's building style. Now, if you're on Zazo's side, like I just said, offensive Zapdos plus Mega DNC could put in a metric ton of work if Marowak goes down. I can also see physically defensive Talonflame to help check Mega Gallade, however Weavile still can pressure it, but Weavile does invite in Blaziken, which can do a number to Danza's team as well. Overall, Zazo's matchup kind of pressures Danza from team preview even into all of the game. I think Zazo just outright wins this one.
Yeah, I think Zazo does as well. I think he has some solid checks. One thing as well that could be a problem for Zazo, that Weavile could be a big pain outspeeding the entirety of Zazo's team. Ferrothorn being the only somewhat good switch-in, even that is not the best switch-in without reliable recovery as well. But yeah, that should be a really good game as well. That could be the game of the week, depending on how well these two play. Now, moving on to the next game, for the fourth matchup, we have Culto Dragon and the New York Empoleons taking on Deebs and the Calgary Flame Wheels. Now, this is the most split matchup we have this week. A lot of people going both ways, and I went with Deebs in this matchup. Now, the checks that Goldoa has for Lando T, they're like the limit in Mean Girls. They don't exist. Now, to stick with the Mean Girls references here, Charizard X here looks so fetch. It looks so good in this matchup. This is going to be very hard for Goldo to deal with unless you can play around it properly. A bulky Charizard just sets up all over his team. Milotic is one of the better defensive checks to a Charizard X, but a bulkier set can go and just set up in front of one as long as it doesn't not have Dragon Tail. On top of this, you just have Sneasel to check a Ditto Therian. Now, because one thing you might think as well, set up Lando T is scary, but there's a Ditto there. But Sneasel can be there to help check that. But on top of that, Ditto doesn't really check a Lando T that's set up, because the set that Deebs should look at bringing would be Dual Stab, Fly, and Earthquake here. And if a Scarf Ditto clicks Fly and then Lando T clicks Fly, that Lando T is in the air when Ditto comes down, and then the Ditto dies. So, not a lot of great checks there to that Lando T. Porygon 2 as well is going to be really hard for Goldoa to break, because Goldoa does not have a fighting type and doesn't have a ton of knockoff on his team either. Really just the Mega Venusaur. I could definitely see knockoff coming on Mega Venusaur this game, specifically for that. As for Goldoa, what could work for him, Sandcore could be a huge problem for Deebs if defensive Lando's not there, and we already mentioned defensive Lando is probably not coming. Setup Lando does so much work in this game. He does have a lot of phasing options, and a lot of Deebs' best bets can, set things up. Sneasel could be a big problem, as well as Serperior as well. If Serperior gets up a couple Leaf Storms, it could be a massive problem for Goldoa, because just having the hidden powers or even a Dragon Pulse could be big to hit things like the Mega Venu or the Victini, which would normally check it. And then Ditto, Ditto can stop the scary setup. I mentioned it's not a great check to the Lando T set that should come, but it could also be another thing that stops maybe a superior setup. I do have Deebs winning, so I do think that Lando T does get the sweep in the end. That thing is just terrifying, just rips Goldoa's team a new one.
I can see that absolutely. Now. Moving on to the next game, we have the Phoenix Midnights versus the Calgary Infernaps. The only coach that doesn't matter versus AA Run 2420. And so, Paulie. We apparently were not taking kindly to the fact that we locked against Turbo last week.
We were not. We certainly were not.
No, and also this game was hyped up in the fan Discord. Be sure to join the link down below because they both agreed to bring their quote-unquote unmons, aka Claydol and Shellman. So from Team Preview, Aaron already has a 6-5 advantage in Team Preview. Now, Aaron, Turbo's Volcanion switch-ins are the X button, which is what you, the viewer, should do on the tab you're watching any of Turbo's videos on. Offensive Donphan also puts in so much work, but knowing my luck and the pick'em's logic, it's gonna get lucked. It could be flinched, critted, random freeze, burned even. Now, if you're on Turbo's side, Kyurem Black can put in a good amount of work, and it will be heavily pressured to do so, and Jirachi is kind of forced to help with Tapu Bulu and Shack Hydreigon and Thundurus. Emboar also does Emboar things, and probably does decent in this game. Now, Aaron has the matchup, and I'm picking him to win, but knowing me, Turbo's going to luck Aaron, and I'm going to lose this just because Pick'em's luck.
I mean, your Pick'em's luck has not been great so far this season, looking at that record there on the screen, so I can definitely see it. But hey, I think at this point, a lot of the analysts are just rooting against Turbo at this point after that rant.
Hey,
so.
Mio and I believe. Mio and I believe.
Alright, well, moving on to the final matchup and the most lopsided looking matchup in the voting, we have Randy and the Texas Pokemon Rangers taking on Opie, Jellison, and the Toronto Leaf Storms. And you see, there's a lot of locks this week. Both of us locked this matchup. There are 5 locks in this matchup, all going towards Randy, every pick going towards Randy. And to explain why, I'll just say this. I have one note for what Opie Jellison has good in this matchup, and I have like 4 or 5 for Randy. That's how uneven this matchup really is. So to get started with that, for Randy, Holy Celesteela Batman. Holy Megalop Batman. Now a little bit less Blessed Barbaracle Robin. Because, you know, just a little bit less than those first 2. But still, Barbaracle actually puts in so much work in this matchup. I really want to see a Shell Smash Z Barbaracle come this week and just destroy Opie Jellison's team, because honestly, that would be one of the coolest things to happen in the GBA, seeing a Barbaracle sweep. But yeah, Megalop, there's just very few switch-ins that Opie Jellison has to Megalop, and pretty much no offensive checks. The only good offensive check he has is Mega Pinsir, but if Megalop has enough bulk, which it should have bulk because of the speed tiers in this matchup, it can chew a quick attack easy. So as long as it stays healthy, it will chew a quick attack from Mega Pinsir. Trust me, as a Mega Pinsir user, I know. On top of that, Celesteela, you can run so many different Celesteela sets in this matchup and just absolutely destroy Opie Jellison's team, whether it's an autonomized offensive set, if it's just a defensive Leech Seed Protect set that can just wear things down. There are so few things that Opie Jellison has to deal straight up with the Celesteela. The only thing that straight up deals with it is Xurkitree. That's it. That's really all he has. And on top of that, last mon I have as well, Shaman is just going to be a super important mon in the matchup, and that's because the one real savior that I see Opie Jellison having in this matchup is his Manaphy. And Manaphy with either offensive with Calm Mind or offensive with Tail Glow here, with dual with its Stab and then Ice Beam and Energy Ball, that could be the savior that Opie Jellison needs in this matchup. It really could put in a good amount of work for him, but I just don't see it getting it done, and I just see too many threats on the side of Randy for him to deal with. And Sawk, you also locked this one. Any other points that I didn't make that you can make about this matchup?
Honestly, you kind of said everything I needed to say. Celesteela just takes his team behind the shed and beats it down.
Oh, absolutely. It's brutal to see a team that deals with Celesteela so poorly. It's such an unfortunate thing to see, because as someone who's had to face a Celesteela, a team that didn't deal with it properly, like very well, it's not a fun time to go against. And my team dealt with it even better than Opie Jellison's did, and this could be really bad for Opie Jellison. You know, Pyroar does not hit it hard enough unless it's like Specs, and again, Xurkitree is powerful enough to take it on, but there are some other solid checks. Spadef Shaman will be really huge in taking on that Xurkitree, as well as a Manaphy, like an offensive setup Manaphy as well. So Rotom Heat as well can also slow down Xurkitree a bit. So there are things on Randy's team that can deal with Xurkitree, and that is that best offensive check to Celesteela. And if it's an autonomized Celesteela, it doesn't check it anyway because it's autonomized and it's gonna have Earthquake, and then Xurkitree just dies. So So yeah, that's that's that matchup, and as you see, 5 people locking in favor of it, and again, most of the matchups are very lopsided this week. You know, most of them just have like 2 people picking towards one person or less. Obviously, the one big matchup, again, New York Empoleons versus Calgary Flame Wheels, very, very mixed. A lot of people going, you know, either way there. What do you think will be the match of the week this week, Sock?
Honestly, my match of the week is actually the New York Empoleon versus the Calgary Flame Wheels. That matchup is going to be so much fun to watch that make sure you pop your popcorn, you butter it, you sit down, and you watch both sides of the video. You leave a like and you comment what your favorite part was.
Oh, absolutely. That should be a fun one, especially, you know, when you know you have an offensive threat like Lando T that can just sweep at any time. That's an exciting one to watch. You're just like, is this the time this could happen? What is you know, Culto going to do to stop this? How is he going to play to prevent this from happening? It's so exciting to watch a game like that where you know that there's just that one threat that at any time it could just destroy lives.
So, like watching any of Leo's games where McGearnick can just come on in and win.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Hashtag no skill mons. Hashtag no skill mons.
Gearin is busted, dude. So with that being said, no note from Bird this week. Bird, you're slacking, man. You didn't give us anything to talk about. But with that being said, leave a like down below. Leave a comment down below if you have anything to say. You know, disagree with our picks. If you have your own picks that don't agree with the fan Discord, make sure you keep us updated with how you've been doing throughout the season. And if you have anything to say about anything else that we've been doing here, just leave a comment down below.
Hey. And with that, I think we're out for the day. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Bye.